We'll get started at 12 p.m. today with our webinar. If you all would just give us a few moments to get started, thank you. I want to give our director some time to get the Facebook page started so our viewers can get a chance to hop on.
I will let you know, Keisha, I'm working on that and we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I don't want to hold anyone on for the Facebook Live. It will pop up here in a few minutes, but feel free to go ahead and get the regular presentation started.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all so much for being with us today for today's webinar. Today, we will be speaking with our friend here today from First Year Experience. My name is Keisha. I'm with the Family Resource Council on the behalf of Student and Family Engagement at UAB. And we are so glad you all are here. Just a couple of things. If you all have any questions while our presenter is presenting today, please feel welcome to post all of your questions in the Q&A section in the webinar. And if you have any questions while you're watching the Facebook Live, please post them in the chat. I'm sorry, in the comment section. And just a reminder, at the end of today's webinar, you will be receiving a survey so that you can let us know how we can serve you and your student better throughout the school year. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome today's guest today, our friend here from First Year Experience, Brooke.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. As Keisha said, my name is Brooke Walker and I am the Director of First Year Experience Programs here for the entire university. I have worked at UAB for 13 years now. I'm a UAB alumni, a Blazer booster, and a first generation college student myself. I'm really excited to talk with you all today about how you can best support your student as they navigate and transition into college in this exciting time of their lives and exciting time of your lives. This really is a pivotal year for both the students and all of you. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. I just kind of want to let you know where we're headed today and things that we will talk through. I really want, my goal is to really empower you with insights and tools that you can utilize to help your student as they navigate and have that successful first year in college. We're really going to explore what they're likely to experience and how you can be that positive influence for them because it really does take a village. So with that, your student is going to experience a lot of different transitions, one of which is that academic transition. And I know that seems like a no-brainer, but really college coursework is very different from high school. A lot of our high school students, no matter where they went or what they did, um, didn't have to study when they were in high school. And now that they are entering college, they're going to have to study and they're going to have to learn how to do that and what that looks like. They're going to find that not only is the coursework more demanding, but it's definitely less structured than what they've been used to. They've been used to attending class every day of the week, from 8 until 3 p.m. And they are going to find out that in college, they're going to have all this newfound, not just freedom, but time on their hands because they're not going to be in class from 8 to 3, Monday through Friday. So that is definitely going to be an adjustment for them. In high school, a lot of them were probably used to their teachers putting the assignments on the board and when they were due and reminding them daily about those due dates and everything. And students aren't necessarily going to get that from their professors. Their professors are going to provide them with a syllabus that first week of class, and they're going to expect them to have read it. They're going to expect them to know when the due dates are. They may not always remind them of those due dates. So again, a lot of less structured. So my encouragement to all of you would be to really encourage your student to manage their time wisely, to seek help when they need it, and to develop really good study habits, and to know that we have so many resources here on campus to help them. So we talked about the academic transition that students are going to experience as they come into college, but there's also that social and emotional adjustment of meeting new people and really putting them out there. And it can be just as challenging as those academics because they've been used to being with people some since they were 4 years old, right? In pre-K all the way until they graduated, or even if they went to a new high school in ninth grade, they've still been with those individuals for 4 years. And so now they're stepping out into this like broader ocean of students and new adventures. And so that is a transition. Some of them may start to feel isolated or just overwhelmed because there is so much coming at them. So really encourage them to engage in campus life and really normalize asking for help, that is absolutely okay. So with that, campus involvement really does help create that well-rounded student. So really encourage your students to get involved. I tell students all the time that we have those like non-negotiables, right? The non-negotiable of I need to go to class and I need to study to make me a good student. Well, yes, that's just part of what your student needs to do. They need to go to class, they need to study, but they also have to remember to eat, and they also have to remember to sleep, and they also need to engage with other students within their classes or outside the classroom, get involved in things on campus. I always tell them, like, pick one, two, or three things. You don't need to be involved in everything, but one, two, or three things and really build depth to that. It takes all of those things to make that successful student. It will support uh, both academic and emotional well-being within themselves as they begin to get involved. So really, I would encourage you also to familiarize yourself with the different resources and everything that we have on campus to really help guide your student without overstepping. We have tutoring and advising here on campus that is extremely important that we want them to take advantage of. With that, we say that students really go through a wave of emotions. And you probably know this just by virtue of knowing your student. So there's that initial excitement. I'm starting something new. I'm going to meet new people. I've got a new schedule ahead of me. And you just get really excited of what that looks like. Then there's that sense of like, uh-oh, I'm missing home, that homesickness. And not just homesickness for those students who are living on campus, yes, not being in the same home with the families that they've been used to. That's very hard and difficult. But even our students who are still living at home, there is some of that homesickness that still occurs because things are changing within the home. Your expectations of them are changing. Their expectations of themselves are changing. So there's still that kind of homesickness that whether you're living at home or on campus, that is still there. And then they go into that, okay, I'm really starting to adapt to my new normal, and this is what life is going to be like for right now. And then there's those periods of stress. And then there's that period of confidence, like, okay, I can do this. So all of this that I've just described is very normal adjustment pattern for your students. So your patience and encouragement for them is key. So be there to support them throughout all of these transitions. There are also certain milestones that we really want you to kind of keep an eye on, these time frames that your students especially are going to experience that fall semester. So those first 6 weeks, that is going to be a real critical adjustment period. I know 6 weeks seems like a long time, and it is, but you and I both know that the older we get, the faster time flies. And so that 6 weeks will really fly by, and those students are really adjusting to this newness that they've created. Then we have um, those time periods where stress is at an all-time high, right? Whether it's midterms, it's that first exam, that midterm period, and then final exams. So check in with your student, make sure that they are that they're doing okay. And then we have those breaks and returns, which always brings about those mixed emotions as well. I tell students all the time, I'm like, okay, I know that you've been used to being on your own, and then during those breaks, you go back home, and now you've got mom and dad, aunt, uncle, whomever's your caregiver's rules that you've gotten used to not doing those things. And I've always told them, I'm like, but no, your parents are adjusting as well. They've been used to you being gone and being away. And so now they've gotten a new normal, and they've adjusted. And so it definitely is a mixed emotion on both sides. Also, let them know, and I know this is really hard. I'm a parent myself. I will have a freshman in college come fall semester as well. But let them know it's okay to struggle. And that's where growth truly happens. You and I know that we are the people that we are today because we failed, because we struggled, and because we persevered. We don't live in or let those things define us, but we learn from them and we move on. And as parents, at times, we don't want to see our students or our children struggle and hurt. But you and I know that we have to let them at times. And that's just because otherwise they're not going to grow, right? And so we need to just let them know that that's a part of growing up, that that is a part of learning and this whole educational process. So again, your role is starting to shift a little from being manager to being that mentor. Let them make those decisions and experience any of those consequences that may come. I know I've had students sit in my office and they're like, Miss Brooke, here's my situation, and I just need you to tell me what to do. And I'm like, I so wish I could, but I can't, because it has to be your choice and it has to be your decision. And they're going to make good choices and they're going to make bad choices, and they're going to have good consequences and bad consequences. but we just need to be here for them through all of it, to support them, to encourage them, and to help them pick up the pieces as they move forward. So ask those open-ended questions and really try to listen more than you advise. I always say, we have two ears and one mouth, so let's really make sure that we're listening, and we're not just listening, but we're hearing what they are saying, that we're hearing what they're trying to communicate to us. With that, think about that communication between you and your students. What's going to work best for you all? It may not be a daily check-in because you're trying to give them that freedom to make those decisions, and find a balance that truly works with both of you and for your family. When they reach out, be empathetic. Try not to be reactive, just so that they know that you're there to be that constant support for them. I know you've probably heard a lot about FERPA. If you haven't, I'm just going to briefly touch on it. As you know, FERPA really protects our students' privacy once they enter college. So you are not automatically going to have access to grades or enrollment or anything like that. That's why it's going to be so crucial that you and your family, you and your students sit down and decide that communication piece. How are you going to communicate those expectations around any of academic and health information, so that y'all are on the same ground? And even when I've had students in my office who are like, Miss Brooke, it's fine, you can share whatever with my parents. I don't, because it really does need to be a conversation between the family and the student, or the caregiver and the student. That's just really important to build those communication, that open dialogue. So just decide what that looks like for you and your family. I know that we all hear a lot about, and it really does kind of excite me that we talk more about our mental health struggles. That our students have, that we all have. Let's all be honest, we all need that additional support. We all have things going on. Mental health struggles are extremely common. Some mental health concerns do not even surface until the college age. So sometimes your student may be experiencing things that they've just never felt before. So it's important that we all destigmatize that therapy, watch for those red flags, remind your student that support is truly available. And like I said, we all seek that support, right? We are all, sometimes it's all about just getting it off of our chest. It doesn't mean that anybody is going to solve our issue for us, but just being able to release it at times helps. We all have that friend that we go to when we need to vent or rant about something. So really encourage your students to reach out and seek that help. Here are just some really key campus resources that we provide here at UAB. We all know that we are paying a lot for college when it comes to tuition and it comes to fees. But know that what's embedded in all of that are these resources that we provide. We provide the buffet, and we want students to take advantage of every resource that we have here. So really encourage your students to meet with their academic advisors. They need to be meeting with their academic advisors at minimum once a semester. Now, their advisors are there to meet with them as often as they need to, but at minimum once a semester, they need to be meeting with them, not just to talk about classes, but to talk about life, because those advisors aren't just going to help them pick that next course. They're going to help them talk through, like, what is that career that you're seeking? What are your passions? What is your purpose? So they're really there to help guide them when it comes to their academics and those goals that they're setting for themselves. We have tutoring and supplemental instruction that we provide to students, again, free to them, no additional charge. That's just there for the taking. And we want them to utilize our Vulcan Materials Academic Success Center where they can get this tutoring. We have tutoring within the schools and colleges to help them. I tell students all the time, at the end of the day, what goes on your transcript is A, B, C, D, F. It does not say if you got a tutor or if you sought additional help. That's all that goes on there. Encourage them to seek that help sooner rather than later. It's always better to, by that second, third week, hey, go ahead and go meet with that tutor. Solidify that you know that material. If you know the material really well, you may not need to utilize tutoring again for that class that semester. But when we really start struggling and we feel like we're getting behind and trying to play catch up, it's just better to go sooner rather than later. Like I said, we have health and counseling services here on campus. And again, whether your student is living on campus or off campus, they may all of a sudden come down with something. They're sitting in class and not feeling well. Going to our health clinic that's here on campus where they can see a healthcare provider and take advantage of that resource, we want them to do that. If they are living in the residence hall, they are going to have residence assistants that are there to help them as they are navigating being in that dorm life and that home away from home. And then just know, as the Office of First Year Experience, we are also here to help guide and direct. We will host a lot of different events on campus where we will specifically invite all of our first year students to participate. And yes, they are fun events, but also at times they're educational events. We will host workshops on immunization. So we will partner with our student health services. We will host workshops in regards to student accounting and financial aid. So we want to encourage your students to come to those things. Follow us on our social media. We will post things on there, and then we will repost other things that are going on campus. Again, just making things available to students to see. So with that, just some final tips and takeaway. Remember, college is a journey of growth. It really is that moment in time that they get to grow and figure out what it is that they want to do. I think society has done a very disadvantage to our students in saying that at 18 they need to know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. We all know how we were at 18, and we surely didn't know what we wanted to do for the rest of our lives, and we can't expect them to either. But that is what college is all about, is figuring out who they are and who they want to be and who they want to become. Your student is going to change and mature in ways that are going to surprise you and that are going to be so exciting that you're going to just look and go, man, I really did do a good job. And please know, you all really have done a good job. Parenting is hard. Like I said, I'm a parent myself. It's probably the hardest job I've ever had in my entire life because we don't get an instruction manual on how to do this. We are all just trying our best every step of the way. So just celebrate those wins with your student. Your belief in their ability to succeed truly makes a powerful impact. With that, I'll leave you with an example. Several years ago, I would go in to a senior level class and we talked about, like, what is your why? What is your passion? What is your purpose? And I would have them write it down on the sticky note. And it was very disheartening because what I found on those sticky notes really wasn't their why or their purpose. But this shows you how much they truly value the opinions of their families, because over 50% of those students put on that sticky note, I want to make my family proud. To them, that was their purpose, to make their families proud and happy that they've done something, that they've been successful. So their success is much for the betterment or not, They really do listen, even though we feel like they're not listening. So just know that they're looking to you, and that your belief in their ability to succeed really does make a powerful impact on them. Like I said, I'm here. If you have any questions or need anything, I'm happy to take a few questions now if you have those. But if you think of something later, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we really do view this as a partnership between us and your students. So we are happy to help in any way that we can.
Thank you, Brooke.
Yeah.
I found all of that information helpful. Although my student is no longer a first year student, it was still very helpful. And it's also, the information is still applicable, even though she's going into her third year. At this time, we would like for you all to please post all of your questions in the comment section if you're joining us through our Facebook live stream, and post your questions in the Q&A section through our webinar so we can assist you more. Let me see, I think we do have one.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, I don't think we have any just yet. Um, I do have a question.
Yeah.
So I know that students can get involved in their first year. So, can you share what that campus life involvement can look like if a student is unsure about being involved in an organization? So,
Yes,
is like what like campus life like activity?
yeah, absolutely. Um, UAB has this wonderful platform, and your students will hear about it if they haven't already. But it's our Engage platform. And on that platform, every single one of our student organizations are listed. So the cool thing about that, and there's over 300 organizations that we have here on campus, which is amazing because there is something for everyone. And here's the thing, if there's something on there that they're like, oh, I don't see anything that I'm interested in, they can start their own organization, which I also think is pretty cool. But that website, they can search by interest. I'm interested in being in Greek life, and all the Greek organizations are going to come up. Or I'm interested in, I like collecting things for food pantry, and they can type that in and they can find the volunteer opportunities for those things. So I really encourage students to start their first semester by looking at that platform where they can find all of those opportunities. Now, here's what I also tell students, because I mentioned earlier, right? You want our students, I want them to be involved in one, two, or three things that they can build depth to. They don't need to be involved in all the things, right? That's overwhelming. They're here to be a student and do well academically as well. But sometimes we have to try the 20 things to narrow it down to the one, two, or three, right? So if there's something that looks interesting to you, go to it. Just because you go to an event doesn't mean you've joined that organization. You're just trying it out. If you go and you're like, yeah, that's not for me, then you don't have to go back. It's not a big deal, right? So, really allowing them to dabble in those different things and different opportunities. Will be great. Some of the first things that they will be getting emails about and text messages about and seeing all over social media is Connect Fest. That'll occur on the Sunday prior to classes starting, and that is held on our campus green, so they can't miss it. They're going to see all these white tents. They're going to see a huge stage out there. They're going to be able to come and get their convocation t-shirt. So again, it's all about free food and free apparel that they can get to. Anytime there's free food, tell them to go to that, right? And who knows, they may hear something interesting when they attend that event. But that'll be one of the first things that they'll be able to do is Connect Fest. And then on that Tuesday night, we'll have what we call convocation for all of our new students, whether they are incoming freshmen or whether they are transferring into the university. It is open to all of our new students, and we will parade over to the Alice Stevens Center And they will experience a pep rally where they will learn some UAB traditions from our band and spirit teams. And then they'll also be able to hear from our president and provost and the deans of their schools and colleges. And then after that, we will conclude with a Blazer cookout. So again, free food, right? So making sure that they attend that. So those are just some really key things from the beginning. And Connect Fest, what's cool about that is there'll be a lot of different organizations set up and they can really start to explore and figure out what it is they want to be involved in.
Thank you, Brooke. How important is it for students to participate in either the events that are going on in their dorm or the events that are going on campus, like what is it? No, the things that are just going on the campus green, because there's so many events. How important is it for students to get involved in stuff like that, even if it's not a part of an organization? And how do those things affect them throughout the academic school year when it comes to mental health and emotional health?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first off, if they're living in the residence hall, anything that their RAs are putting on or that their dorms are putting on, I would encourage them to go to. Obviously, there needs to be a balance, right? Because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, and vice versa. When you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else. But what makes those things so important is being able to network and being able to meet other people. And not just other people that are like you, but other people that are not like you. Because that's part of this exploration and journey as well, is meeting people that aren't like us and stepping outside of that comfort zone, making those connections. Like, as humans, we were meant for human connection. We were meant, there's a reason we have friends, right? There's a reason that we have those people that we can lean on. And so attending those events that are not necessarily for a specific organization is crucial because you just never know who you might meet, who might become your best friend, who you might have class with, or who you just see in passing. And that begins to make the campus your home. I truly believe UAB is a place like no other. We truly are a family here. Um, Faculty, staff, and students are here to support fellow faculty, staff, and students. And that includes you too, our parents, right? We are here to support each other. We're all navigating life for the very first time, and we only get to do it once, right? And so it's so important that we make those connections and that we have those people that we can lean on. Your campus journey is what you make it. So if all you do is sit in your dorm or sit at your house and you don't get involved, then that is exactly the college experience you're going to have. However, again, you and I know like human connection is critical and crucial, and just to our well-being in general. So I would highly encourage you to encourage your student to anytime that they are able to get out of the dorm, do it.
Thank you, Brooke. I'm not seeing any additional questions, but I will ask just one
Yeah,
last one because this is first year experience. And
yes,
you spoke on this earlier about how when students receive tutoring in specific services, it does not show up on their transcript and it definitely does not show up on their resume. Can you touch on this just a little bit more about that transition from high school to the collegiate level, about the importance of them really asking for help? Because I mean, even with my daughter, I'm sorry, my student going to her third year, you know, we, as her guardians, we still do this. And can you please explain how we still need to break that stigma on it's okay to ask for help?
Absolutely, absolutely. All of these things are learned behaviors. Our students are not born knowing how to do certain things, just like we weren't. And we have to educate them on that. And that's what we are here for at UAB, is to educate them on all aspects, on asking for help and all those things. But as parents or guardians or caregivers, we're here to do that as well because I think we make a lot of assumptions that they just know how to do it and they really don't. Like I said, I have a student who's going to be entering college as a freshman come fall. And I look at my student and I'm like, oh boy, you know? So yeah, asking for help, we have to put our pride aside, right? And we all have to do that, even as parents and guardians. Like we have to know when we've met our limitation and that it's okay. Um, Again, we are all, just like I told my student, I said, I'm paying a lot of money. And I don't want you to have to retake classes because our money is not growing on trees. And I can't just go pluck the amount I need. So it's important that you do your best to successfully pass that class the first time so that we don't have to pay for it twice, right? And in doing that, to be successful, that means we go and talk to our professors, right? And we go and we get tutoring if we need tutoring. Here's the thing, going and asking for help, those are also skills that we all have to do in the workplace. So not only are we teaching them how to be successful in the classroom, but we're teaching them how to be successful in life, because they're going to have to go to that boss one day that may be a difficult person to talk to, but they're just going to have to do it because you got a job to do and your livelihood depends on it, right? So teaching them those skills now with the safety nets that UAB provides is what we want to do. So, like I said, and I get it. Sometimes our students aren't going to listen to us. So encouraging them to go talk to somebody who's really going to tell them the same thing you're going to tell them. But they're just going to hear it from somebody else and then they'll actually do it. We all know we've been there. Because I've definitely been there with my student. So yeah, just really encouraging the use of all the resources that we have here on campus.
Thank you, Brooke. I don't
Yeah.
see any additional questions, and I'd like to encourage you all to jot down the information that's on the screen right now if you haven't already done so. And as a reminder, we will be sending you all a survey at the end of this webinar so you all can let us know how we can better assist you all and your student throughout the academic school year. We will have more webinars throughout the summer that you all can be a part of. If you want to rewatch any of our webinars, you can go to uab.edu/families, and you can also catch the replay on our Facebook page. Brooke, do you have any lasting remarks for our viewers today?
All I would say is just to keep encouraging your students, and we are so excited that you all are a part of the UAB family. Welcome.
Thank you. And my name is Keisha with the Family Resource Council on the behalf of student and family engagement at UAB. And thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you to Brooke with first year experience, and go Blazers. Bye, you guys.